Hello and thank you for joining me here at Why the Book Wins. My name is Laura and here on my channel I make videos about books and movies, but today I thought I would do something a little different and instead reflect on my time on YouTube and reflect specifically on mistakes I made early on and just things I've learned or things I wish I would have known sooner, kind of a thing. But before I share the mistakes I made, if you have a YouTube channel, share down below what is a mistake you made early on that you have since learned from, and let's all just commiserate down below in the comments. And then anyone who is watching this who is thinking about starting a YouTube channel, maybe what I say you will find helpful, but also maybe down in the comments what other YouTubers say will also be helpful to other people. And I'm going to begin with one of my biggest regrets, something I did in some of my early videos that I now wish so much that I hadn't, and I wish I could edit that out. But I would start out my videos sounding like I didn't know what I was talking about, like I was incompetent or that I lacked confidence in the topic. And there are two videos in particular that I think of that I know I did this on. And funny enough, I think both videos were so good and I did such a good job on them. And yet I start the video out saying that I feel like I'm not the right person to be talking about this subject or whatever. And I'm actually going to share a clip from one of these videos just so you can hear exactly what I would say. However, the majority of the book is pretty straightforward, I thought, which there could be things that I'm missing that are going over my head. Like I have no background in literary analysis or film analysis. I'm just a random person who likes to read and who likes to watch movies, so I am by no means an expert. And oftentimes things do go over my head and I miss something, some meaning and some symbolism that was there and I just didn't catch it. So as I go along with this video, if there's things you want to share down below that you learned about this book that I missed, definitely leave it in the comments down below. And that goes for any of my book first movies. Like I said, I'm not an expert and I'm not the best book reviewer out there or analyzer out there. So I could definitely be wrong with a lot of things I say, and comment down below if you have a differing view, or maybe it's not that you disagree with me, but maybe something. And I even cut that clip short because I go on even longer. Like I'm literally beginning my video giving viewers a reason not to watch the video. And I even got a comment on that exact video where the person said, "It was interesting to see that you introduced yourself as incompetent and spent lots of airtime on that. You almost convinced me to click on a different video. I'm glad I didn't." And it reminds me of something Conan O'Brien said when he was interviewed on Hot Ones, because Sean asks him, like, what's the worst thing a guest can do on a talk show? And I'm going to read Conan's answer. "The worst thing a guest can do is tell the audience it's not going well. It's an amateur move because the host can do a lot to let people think it's going great, even if it's not. Audiences want to see a good show. They want to see a good interview. And I was always amazed when someone would come out and they'd be doing okay and they'd make a couple of jokes and it's fine. And then they would just go and they would look right out to the camera and they would say, 'This just isn't going very well, is it?' And I would look out at the audience, maybe 200 people sitting there, and I'd see 200 souls leave 200 bodies and float up through the ceiling because they were just told they were not getting a good show." And that's literally what I would be doing. I would be telling someone that the video they were about to watch isn't going to be very good. Which, one, why would anyone stick around and watch a video after you've said that? And two, it wasn't even true. You know, the videos actually did turn out well. I just sound so unconfident at the start, being like, "Oh, what do I know? Like, why are you listening to me? I don't have a film degree or a literature degree. And like, who cares that I don't have a degree? Plenty of people are online talking about things, making great videos about topics they don't have a degree in." So that was also just pointless information. And if you feel insecure, which oftentimes when you're starting out on YouTube, you will feel insecure, but try your best not to show it. You know, you just gotta fake it till you make it, really. But I do know why I started some videos out saying that, and it is because I had the thought that, like, if I call myself out on not knowing what I'm talking about, commenters won't feel the need to leave a mean comment saying I don't know what I'm talking about. So it all stemmed from fear, insecurity, and fear of being, you know, like ridiculed in one way or another. And to go along with that, also in that clip, I say something about how, like, oh, I might get details wrong, or I might be wrong about this or that. So if I get something wrong, be sure and comment down below and correct me. And I try to not do that anymore either, because one, again, you're giving people a reason not to watch the video, because it's like, well, this video could be totally inaccurate, so why would I watch it? Because they themselves are telling me they might be wrong. But two, people love to correct other people online. And so yeah, if I get a detail wrong, believe me, people will comment correcting me without me having to remind them to comment and correct me, you know? And sometimes people do it in a helpful, constructive criticism way, and other times people do it in a very jerky way. But yeah, basically, there is no need for you to ask the audience to correct any mistakes you make because they will do that on their own. And speaking of comments, this brings me to another mistake I made early on, and that is feeling the need to reply to rude comments and also feeling the need to reply right away to comments. Because how I handle specifically rude and mean comments, how I handle it now is I will see the comment and then I won't do anything. I will ignore it. I will go about my day. And once I am feeling more level-headed, a few hours later, I will then return to the comment and decide if it even warrants a reply. And so yeah, my biggest piece of advice here is never, ever reply with your gut instinct, gut reaction response. You should just give it time to settle, right? Give yourself time to calm down. And again, come back later when the freshness has worn off. And again, you can decide if it's even worth acknowledging the comment. But 9 times out of 10, a rude, mean comment, just ignore it. It's not worth giving them any attention whatsoever. And sometimes if the comment is like saying something about something you said in the video, you might feel the need to defend yourself or to explain yourself further. But I feel like that's also like rarely necessary, especially if the person has an attitude of being like mean and rude. But I feel like 1, your video should be able to stand on its own without you having to do further explanation in the comments. But 2, have the thought in mind that anything you say can and will be used against you, because you might respond to them defending yourself or explaining yourself, and you might think you are being very civil, right? And level-headed. And so you respond explaining yourself, but they will just take that and run with it. You are just giving fuel to their fire, and they will just escalate things. And you're just like, wow, I thought I was being so civil. And now look at them. They're just like blowing this out of proportion and turning this into a whole thing. And so yeah, commenters like that, oftentimes they want a reaction. They want to start a fight. They want to have contention. And so again, commenting anything, no matter what it is, you're just giving them what they want. And so that's why it is best to just ignore it. And for all they know, you didn't even see it. And then also, as far as not responding with like your gut reaction, which could be something snarky and rude in return, also keep in mind, like, how is your response going to look to other viewers of the video who might read this interaction in the comment section, right? Like, if your response comes across like you are petty or immature or you can't take negative feedback, it just reflects poorly on you, right? So at the end of the day, just think like, if I reply in this way, am I representing myself to the public in a way that I want, kind of a thing? And I want to specify that all of this only applies to people, again, who are being rude and mean. This does not apply to people who are providing constructive criticism or people who simply have a different viewpoint and they're just sharing how they see things differently. You know, that's not what I'm talking about at all. I love getting comments from people who disagree with something I have to say, right? Like when they express their point of view in a respectful way, I love engaging and having conversations about that. And I also like to apply constructive criticism that people give. So again, all of what I just said, it does not apply to people who are actually being respectful and constructive. It only applies to the people who are being mean and rude. But something else that I regret, a huge mistake I made early on, is not saving my videos. Once I posted them on YouTube, I deleted them. And some of those old videos, they only exist now on YouTube. And so if something happens to my channel, if something happens to YouTube, so many videos would be lost, and that would be terrible. But eventually I did start saving them on one of these storage discs, which I highly recommend you get. It is worth the investment, and they do hold a lot too. And so I filmed this video a week ago, maybe more than a week ago, but thankfully I had not yet uploaded it, because I need to pop in here and correct something, because in the previous video, I'm about to go on about how I wish I kept the originals. That way I could cut out certain things in videos I wish weren't there and then re-upload the new version. For example, that clip where I'm doubting myself. I'm like, oh, if only I could edit that out, but I can't because I don't have the original. Turns out, using YouTube Studio, you can edit existing YouTube videos and you can cut things out. So I have since I've gone to that Grapes of Wrath video, and I have since cut out that section that I share in this video. So yeah, I had no idea until yesterday that that was even a thing. Like, I knew you could edit your video in YouTube, But I don't do that, and I did not know that you could edit it even after it has been uploaded. So yeah, I still of course recommend keeping your originals on one of these drives, as I will continue to say in the rest of this video when we get back to it. But I went on this whole tangent about wanting to delete things from a video but not being able to. But yeah, YouTube Studio allows you to delete segments from existing YouTube videos. I just wanted to pop in here and say that, and now we can move on to the rest of my video. But even if you don't want to delete and re-upload a video, it's still good to keep them, right? Because again, you know, I put so much work into these. I'm sure you put so much work into yours. So why risk them one day being destroyed, right? Like, I just love knowing that I have them all safe right here. And if anything goes wrong with YouTube, as far as some of my videos are concerned, it's okay because I have backups. And speaking of things that you cannot change, something you can change is your thumbnail. You can change your thumbnails as many times as you want. It doesn't matter how old your video is, you can always change your thumbnail. And so a mistake I made in regard to my thumbnail is that I would spend way too much time trying to make the perfect thumbnail. And you know what's funny? Those thumbnails that I worked so hard on, I look at them now and I'm like, wow, that wasn't even very good. And so I'll go back and change thumbnails from years ago because now I've improved and I can make better thumbnails now. And so basically, don't take forever trying to create the perfect thumbnail, because just the more you make, the better you'll get. And you can always change those thumbnails from the past. And I get, you know, thumbnails are important because that's the first impression someone gets of your video. But again, I kind of don't think it's something you need to spend too much time on. But of course, this mainly applies to evergreen content, because if you make videos that are very topical and they matter right now is when people are going to watch them, then you need to make sure you have the perfect thumbnail right off the bat, because a month from now, no one is going to care. So I do recommend creating evergreen content though, because you don't want a video, again, that maybe will get a lot of traffic at the start and then totally die off. It's good to create content that people can return to years down the road and still get value from it, you know? And then also videos like that, you can change the thumbnail as you learn to improve and make better thumbnails. And then to go along with how you will improve your thumbnails over time, you will also improve making videos over time. Like you talking in front of the camera, you'll get used to that and get better, but also the editing, you will get better. And so basically early on, do not worry about trying to be perfect, because in the beginning, your videos just won't be very good. And that's just a fact for the most part, right? Like there's a few exceptions, I guess, for some people, but for the most part, your videos just won't be good in the beginning, and that's okay. Just don't overthink it. Just make the video, do the best that you can right now. And going forward, it's just a guarantee that the more videos you make, the better you will be. The first video I ever recorded of myself, I filmed it at a terrible angle, and yet at the time I didn't see anything wrong with it. But, you know, I'm glad I still went ahead and filmed that video and uploaded it and, you know, continued to film even more videos afterwards, because paralysis by overanalysis is a very common disease. And so many people don't do things because they're overanalyzing and they're overthinking, and they can blame perfectionism sometimes, being like, oh, I can't do it because it has to be perfect. But I feel like that's just an excuse some people use to procrastinate. And I am a procrastinator, but I don't use perfection as my reason. For a long time, I used like, oh, I just don't have the time, because I wanted to start a blog comparing books and movies. But for 5 years, I was like, I don't have the time and I don't know how to do that, so I just won't. But eventually I did start a blog, and when I converted it into a YouTube channel, doing that, I honestly didn't put too much thought into it, so I didn't overanalyze it at that point. I just started a channel and didn't really think about it, you know, so I just dove right in. And because I dove right in and didn't do much research into YouTube, it therefore means that I did make a lot of mistakes early on. But again, I feel like it's better to just start and learn from your mistakes than to take forever and not start at all, you know? And also, if an early video really is that bad, you can always just delete it eventually down the road. That video I showed a clip from, that's private now, because I don't want people coming across my channel and watching that video in particular and thinking that that's what my videos are like. And then I also wanted to talk about monetization, because I do not think there is anything wrong with creating a YouTube channel in the hopes of making money. However, You also need to be talking about something that you are truly interested in. You can't be in a topic, like you can't get in the finance niche because you know it's profitable, but you're someone who has zero interest in finance, right? Because chances are your channel won't do well. People can tell when you're actually interested in what you're talking about. But also, it's not going to make money right away. And so it just needs to be something that you're truly interested in. My channel, when it made very little or no money, I was still making videos and I was still enjoying it because this is a topic that I genuinely enjoy talking about. And yet, at this point in time, I do have a monthly goal, like financial goal that I would like to hit. Because I devote so much time to Why the Book Wins, it would just be nice to have that monetary justification for all the time I spend on it. But then at the same time, not everything needs to have a monetary value, right? Like, again, Why the Book Wins, I love doing this, and this channel means so much more to me than just the money it's bringing in, right? I put so much of myself into these videos. And yet at the same time, I don't think there is anything wrong with wanting to make money doing something that you love, right? Like you can be in it for the money and also love doing it. Like those two things aren't exclusive. They can be together, you know? And so yeah, I and you shouldn't let other YouTubers or viewers make you feel bad for wanting to make money. And I just wanted to give a bit more context for this because in the booktube community specifically, I have seen this monetization discourse come up a lot because YouTubers, booktubers, as well as the viewers, sometimes they feel like someone shouldn't be trying to make money talking about books. They should just be talking about books because they love to read and want to talk about books, right? And so they feel like almost like you're a sellout if you're wanting to make money too. And so yeah, that is something I have kind of seen within the booktube community to some extent. So I don't know if that's a popular thought in other niches, but that is kind of what I am referencing when I am saying that you can love what you're doing while also wanting to make money from it, right? Like you're not a sellout just because you monetize your channel. But I also wanted to say that a very small percent of YouTubers make money. Like if you Google it, apparently it's less than 1% of YouTubers are making any money whatsoever. And so yeah, just to reiterate once again, it's fine to want to make money, but you can't be in it just for the money because 99% of YouTubers out there aren't even making much money at all, if any. And then lastly, when starting out on YouTube, obviously, you know, your audience is very small. And so like in early videos, I feel like I sort of made the mistake of maybe getting too personal in videos because my audience was so small, it didn't seem like a big deal. But now my audience is bigger. And so there's certain things that I'm just not going to share online because now I'm realizing, you know, like my channel has grown and it could keep growing, right? So like, do I want to share this detail about myself and potentially risk thousands of people knowing this detail, you know? And some of that can be like just personal things about myself. But honestly, the one video I'm thinking of in particular, I shared a detail about someone else in my life. I guess because it's not about me, it was about someone else. I'm like, I wish I hadn't done that because now, you know, people are seeing that video and now that information is out there in the world, you know? And so again, if you're sharing something about yourself or a family member, just remember your audience might be small now, but eventually your channel could grow and this old video could end up getting a lot of views. So are you okay with other people knowing this detail? And also, maybe I'm kind of old school, but I've always been careful about, like, I don't say what my last name is. I don't say where I live. I don't even say my exact age for the most part. I might have early on, but now details like that too, I don't want people knowing, right? Because there's crazy people out there who could do whatever. I don't know. But again, if you're telling people all sorts of personal details about you, maybe, you know, just make sure you're giving it some thought and you're considering like, my channel might be small now, but if it grows, am I okay with people knowing this about me? And then this also kind of goes into when I share personal opinions in videos. And this isn't necessarily a regret because I'm going to continue doing this, but sometimes I'll watch an old video where I'm very opinionated about something and I watch it now and I'm like, wow, like I don't feel that strongly about this thing anymore. And yet in this video, someone could watch it today and think that is how I feel right now, even though it's not. However, you know, I did feel that way at the time, right? And so my opinion is still valid from, you know, 4, 3, 2 years ago, whatever. And so again, that's why it's not a regret because I'm like, hey, that's how I felt at the time. I was being true to what I felt and that's what matters, even if now I feel differently. So anyway, yeah, my only like regrets as far as that goes is if I shared like specific details about myself, like where I lived or something. Or again, that video where I shared something about someone else. So because it wasn't about me, I was sharing something about someone else, and I did get their permission to say it in the video, but yeah, I still am kind of like, wow, I wish I hadn't shared something so personal about someone else in my life. So anyway, keep that in mind when you make your videos. And that wraps it up for mistakes I've learned from throughout my YouTube journey. Share your thoughts down below in the comments. And again, if you have a YouTube channel, share down below mistakes that you made early on that you have since learned from, and I will see you next time. Bye.